Good morning, welcome to TERRA at Home, and we are getting super festive at this point. Ta-da! We're talking major Christmas now.
Major.
Back with Michelle from TERRA, and I love every year TERRA does themes. So we have this sort of a themed area, themed tree, and some people like to have multiple trees in their homes. So they take what they already have, and then they take the TERRA ideas and they make their own.
Exactly, and that, you know what? One of the nice things I think that I've really worked on over the years with TERRA is trying to recreate something that people then can add to every year.
Right, exactly.
So you're not having to come and buy a whole assortment of new looks. You can melt this in with your own looks. You know, if you had whites and silvers, add in some gold.
Exactly.
Or if you like just all the gold, just add some more. You know.
Exactly.
Something that we worked really hard on this year was actually having 3 trees that were solid colors. So this is Gold Rush, and it is all sort of champagnes and golds and warm creams and that glitzy, that really glitzy kind of feel to it.
And a lot, it's funny, you know, when you walk around and some people, as I mentioned, have a lot of trees in their homes, and this often will be the one tree that they'll have either, you know, in the dining room or in their bedroom, because it's something that just, you know, it can either even coordinate with what they have in their house.
Well, it's so warm.
It is, it's very warm. Very warm. So that leads us from when we talk about all the golds that we see in here and the warmth with this, but we also have one that's more silver and whites.
Yes. All on a white tree this year. It's called Silver Bells, and all the ornaments are dark grays, silvers, creams, like very, 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 I don't know, it's shiny. It's very, very shiny with a white background to it, which is really fun. Lots of the silver reindeers that you could add to the bottom or use on your mantles and things like that.
And that's the thing, so you're starting with the tree, and then you can take that from and then theme your whole room around your tree if you like. And you know, also with decor right now, silver and white's very in.
It is.
With overall decor. So you're seeing more white kitchens and getting away from some of the darker woods and brightening up. So it can totally go with your house.
Absolutely.
And so again, you can kind of go gold, or you can go white and silver. So
or you can go red. We did an all red tree this year too, called Red Hot, and all the ornaments on it are red. In fact, you can't tell that the tree is green behind it because there are so many ornaments in the red, which is really fun. Yeah.
And again, you know, when we talk about Christmas, people have sort of their ideas of what Christmas is. So, you know, some really want to keep it low key. So it's more just, okay, I can understand that this is looking festive, but it's not over the top.
Right.
Some people want red and green, and they want it to be, and as you said, you know, you're not going in and redoing an entire tree. Some people like to do that, come in and start fresh and have a whole new tree. But it's just adding. So if you have a red themed tree already, it's just coming in and saying, hey, you know what, I like those. Trying to restrain yourself in a little way.
It's hard, I have to tell you. Like, part of the whole thing of setting up these themes is we start so early. Like, I'm already working on next year's looks for Christmas. So you look at them for such a long time and you want to recreate something really different.
Exactly.
And travel and find different things.
Right.
My absolute favorite buy this year is called Letterhead.
Yes.
And it's all red and white with chalkboard ornaments.
Okay,
so you can actually write on the ornaments, the names, or you could do a countdown. We've talked about advent calendars in the past, and you could do a countdown on the ornaments. Just make a nice message, maybe, you know, just something different. That was a really fun one to create. And chalkboard is so big right now.
It is, that's right. You're seeing it, you know, people using the chalkboard paint, but it's a very cool tree, and the depth of the black in there, again, some people wouldn't associate black with Christmas, but when you put it with red and with white and with some of the sort of the ornamental side of things, it's an awesome tree. You're right, it's a very cool tree.
It is really
and then from there, so each section in the store, you know, again, it just sort of explodes with the theme around it. So from pillows to all different types of ornaments for your house. So you can kind of
placemats, bowls, all the, like candle holders, all the different things. So if you did want to continue on the look of whatever your Christmas theme may be, you can do that with various decor pieces too.
One of my trees that I really like this year, because I'm partial to tartan, is the tartan tree.
I love the tartan tree too. This year we changed it up. Typically the tartan time is what it's called this year, is a lodge theme where we have lots of animals and things like that.
I love that one last year.
But we've always added red, and this year I was like, no red. We're adding blue. So we added the blue into it, and it's really, really sharp, and I think it's very warm. It reminds me, growing up in Vancouver, of like the mountains and things like that. and it has all kinds of animals in it. So you've got hedgehogs and squirrels and foxes and owls and
I love it.
all kinds of neat ones.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
And I think what the great thing with tartan is, you know, I think, I mean, my family heritage, I would naturally go, I mean, you can take that whole idea, and that's what's great about the way you guys set things up around here. It inspires people. So, you know, buy some of the ornaments from there, and then maybe add your own tartan.
Absolutely.
From your what your tartan is from your family. So I could use any type of Stuart tartan and wrap it around my tree, and then kind of just go with the theme idea.
And that's
right?
what we did. We actually just did scarves. It was very simple. So
That's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
You're so smart. All right, so tell me some more about some other trees that we
Okay,
have.
then we have Cool Kid,
Okay.
Which is really fun in pinks and turquoise blues and greens. A lot of flocked sort of ornaments, some picture frames and things
Yeah.
like that. It's a little bit more like for a child's room, or if you wanted to do a little bit more of a whimsy kind of. You're seeing a lot of it this year in the mixed colors. I think people are craving color for Christmas and it not always being so traditional.
Right. And this is
The
bright.
greater population loves tradition, don't get me wrong.
For sure.
But you want to have that little like change. Like I know this year I'm going to try and do a little tree upstairs for my daughter, and it will probably be in the colors that she likes, which are in this theme Cool Kids. So
and you know what, and it's great because again, as you say, it's more vibrant, it's very bright, and right now kids are all about, especially the ones that you're hitting into the tweens, they're all about fluorescent everything. So they're all about the super bright colors, kind of like way back in the 80s have come back again, but the fluorescent stuff and the really bright colors are so back. Even for boys, they're walking around their ski coats or that. So it's a really nice way, as you say, to make certain trees for each child in your home could have a little tiny tree, and it's all about their ornaments and their style, right?
Yeah,
So
it is fun.
again, that's it. Just looking around, there are so many different styles of trees.
there are. Well, we also have classic retro,
Yeah.
which is a little bit more of the blown glass ornaments. I remember growing up with the box of ornaments with the tissue in them and the witch's eyes that my grandma would pull out. So we've
That's
actually pulled
right.
some of that old tradition into that theme, which is so fun. It really
It
is
is.
fun. But it is very traditional. It's all the red, greens, golds, Santas, snowmen, those types of things. And then last but not least, we have Au Naturel, which is really au naturel. It's all burlap and white and paper and warm. A lot of the owls you see in that theme. The owls are still big.
Yes.
And foxes.
Right.
Lots of foxes too. So,
But again, it's still animals that we associate with winter.
with winter.
And again, really you can go super explosion of Christmas and red and greens, or you can do that and be more subdued. Some people do like that natural just warmth in their house of just all the natural colors from the burlaps to the birch.
Yes.
And which we're seeing a lot of again this year. And just it really, whatever it is, there isn't a way that you will walk in here and not find an ornament that just one or two that you can add to your tree, and they're also great gift ideas to take to
there are
somebody's
some
home.
really neat ones.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Something personal. I think ornaments are so fun to buy for people. If you know something about them, there are themed ones, and you can
There's
just have
ones
so
that you
much
can
fun.
open and put something into as
Exactly.
well.
I
Ones
love
you
it.
can write on. So
Thank you, Michelle.
you're welcome.
Good tour of the trees. And almost Merry Christmas, so get shopping. That's it for now. We'll have more Terra at home. When I dream in color. And when I think of color, I think of Terra. Make your Christmas dreams come true at Terra, where color lives.
Heritage Perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
The Hamilton Spectator. At work, at home, or on the go. Read us online, in print, or download us to your e-reader. Get the Hamilton Spectator any way you want it.
Good morning, welcome back to Terra at Home. I'm here with Gillian Love from the LCBO, and so nice to have you with us as always.
Thank you.
We're getting festive already. Halloween's
are.
officially behind us. We're moving forward. you know, once you get into November, it's just full gear.
That's right.
Christmas
I mean,
holidays.
I hope everyone has their shopping done, because then you have to go to the LCBO.
I know. So what we're trying to do here is really try to maybe make it a little bit more of instead of going to the LCBO every day, you could maybe cut back on the
Yep.
list by getting all of the key ingredients that you need to stock your shelves.
That's right.
For the holidays.
Well, you figure, Leslie, you're doing entertaining from maybe the end of November all through December, at least
Yes.
every weekend. So yeah, go in early, because it gets busy. But
Sure.
we wanted to specifically talk about stocking a bar. It's not that complicated. People panic, they get a little, you know, agitated, and they think, oh, it's going to cost a fortune.
Sure, like, and what do I need? There are so many options,
So
but
many
really, you're
options.
going to narrow it down for us so you can look at
Right.
the key options, and it basically rounds off every drink anyone possibly could ever need.
That's right.
Okay.
So you don't need to do any much more than this. You really only need 10 bottles, and you can pick them up well ahead of time, so you don't have to go in and buy them all at once, but I mean, maybe every couple of weeks, go in
right.
and buy 2 or 3. But we're starting off with, you need a whiskey. You need
Sure.
a Canadian whiskey or a bourbon for your sidecars or your drinks, your classic Ryan and Coke or
Yes.
Ryan Ginger Ale. A rum is always good, because you can use it in eggnog, you can use it for your daiquiris, you can use it for mojitos.
Right.
The vodkas are very important, because it's a neutral spirit and it just blends with everything. You can add any kind of fruit juice to vodka. You can add it in a martini. You can do lots of different things with it.
Yeah, so it's really key to have a vodka for sure. Okay.
Yes. This Tag vodka is from Oakville, so it's a very local vodka, and it's organic.
I thought so. Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
it's great. It's great, and it's great to buy local ingredients
It
too.
is.
So that's
Oh,
kind of nice.
That's great.
The Hendrick's gin is another staple, and people sometimes gin has the perception, oh, it's, you know, an older person's drink, but it's really not. It's becoming really trendy. This particular gin has rose water and cucumber infused in it, so it's really aromatic. You know, your classic martini calls for gin, so it's great to have. It's really, really lovely, really refreshing.
And that's the thing with gins, as you're saying, a lot of the old classic cocktails are back, right?
They
so
totally
you
are.
can't deny having some
The
of these.
drinksmanship of cocktails
Oh
are
yeah,
back.
it's so true.
The
That's right.
1970s has
Oh,
returned.
it's hilarious. I love it.
The tequila.
Yep.
Tequila is a great product to have. This particular one is organic tequila, and pay attention to your tequilas, because some are rested, which means they're just a 12-month tequila, and
Right.
some are a lot older. So
Okay.
the older you get into your añejo tequilas, and those are aged longer, and they're a lot more flavorful. But if you're mixing tequila in, say, a margarita, or if you're doing straight shots of it at Christmas time, then you may need a better quality tequila. But really, you don't have to buy an expensive one
No.
for your bar. No.
No, and that is, again, as you mentioned, that, you know, the different variations there. But it is it's amazing how they have different flavor components to them, and really you can, a lot of times it's very much about sipping tequila, and people don't think that tequila can be sipped, but it is. It's a good sipper.
Delicious sipping
Right?
tequila, yes.
People
And
do
it's
the
not
association
harsh.
of a shot, right? But no.
Yes, long gone are the days where you get
Yeah.
that burn. It's very, you can enjoy,
Good
and
times.
it's just like you're enjoying a single malt.
Right.
Now, you could add a single malt scotch to your bar if you're a scotch drinker, or you could add
Yes.
a bourbon, or you could add a cognac or something like that.
Right.
As far as flavoring the drinks, you should have one liqueur, like a Cointreau on hand, or a Grand Marnier.
Sure. Okay.
And then, of course, the martini here, the vermouth is very important for your martinis, right? So we do also sell a selection of flavored vodkas and flavored rums,
Tons of flavors.
flavored whiskeys. You can get into your maple whiskeys, your spiced whiskeys. Some of your vodkas now have chocolate mint through it. You can make lots of interesting drinks, but
Sure.
keep to the basics, because most
Right.
people coming over are not going to say, you know, I want that
Yeah,
fancy
exactly.
drink. It's nice to do a signature drink
Right.
For your guests, and you can make that up ahead of time, and you can go on our website, and we have lots of different cocktail ideas.
I know. That's the thing. You guys have great ideas for festive cocktails, and you know, you always have your little brochures, and it gives people ideas, or as you say, the website. But it is good. I mean, if you do want to have, again, sort of the staples, and have, you know, a couple little ideas, little sort of menu cards written up in some of the cocktails that you put together, then that does give, you know, maybe some more specific.
Yeah, and keep in mind, when you're making a cocktail, you need a base spirit, you need some kind of a fruit drink or a juice, you need the like a lemon or lime bar mix too, to balance,
Right.
because you don't want your drink to be overly sweet.
Right.
You want to have that acidity in there.
Okay, no, that's a good
And
idea.
then a cocktail shaker, just your average standard cocktail shaker. You can buy these at the LCBO. They're all over the place. You just, and make sure, Leslie, I can't stress enough, have lots of fresh ice. Don't use, ice
that's
is
so
key.
important. You're
Fresh
right.
ice is everything. It can totally change the
Yes,
drink.
but some people forget about the ice, and it's last minute. Everyone comes over and they're like, "Oh, we'll just use the stuff
Here's
that's
the
in
one
the
ice
freezer."
cube.
Yeah, and they'll take out the one that's been sitting there with all the other frozen stuff and dump it in. You're right, and ice really carries flavors from the fridge or the freezer.
Sure does.
And it goes right in your drink.
So fresh ice and lots of it.
Okay.
With vodkas and gins, you can throw them into your freezer. You can freeze them because they'll
That's always
like
nice.
well they'll never freeze, so they'll
Right.
just stay ice cold,
Yes.
and then it makes your martini so much more lovely.
That's a great idea.
Gin martinis versus vodka, there is a little bit of a difference.
Yes.
Your vodka martini is a little more. It goes through a natural osmosis, so it's like a little thicker in flavor and texture.
Okay.
Whereas your gin is more aromatic, so you're getting that really nice
Okay.
aromas of the juniper berry from the gin.
Now, I think, as you were mentioning, having, we have this sort of the basics here right now. What about getting into sort of the after dinner type drinks as well?
You can get into ports for after dinner. You can go to liqueurs, like I said, more cognacs, scotches. When you're thinking this cool weather, we're getting more comfort food, so you want to have a little bit more richer liqueurs and spirits around. But you don't have to come in and talk to us, because you can buy way too much, and a
Sometimes
bottle.
you don't use it.
Sometimes
right?
you don't.
You know,
sometimes,
especially if you
and
have a
some
bottle.
liqueurs, keep in mind, cream-based liqueurs
Yes.
will go off very quickly.
Okay,
and
so that's key. You have to put those in the fridge, right?
you definitely do. They're
Okay.
cream-based spirits. They do have a shelf life on the bottle. So, to pull out that old Bailey's that's been sitting in
Hey,
your cupboard.
everybody. Glug, glug, glug.
Yeah, so just be careful
Yes.
with cream-based liqueurs.
Right.
For sure.
So, speaking, obviously, you mentioned Bailey's, but 40 Creek has a great cream as well. And
they have
so
a
good.
fabulous cream base.
So good.
Yes, and lots of local. This is, again, local
love 40 Creek.
Canadian whiskey.
Yes.
It's delicious. It's really, really nice.
So
It's
again, sometimes people will also, around the holiday season, they'll sort of venture off what they normally drink.
Yes.
Sometimes if you're just a red wine drinker and that's all you drink, sometimes you might be up for a little bit of a fun cocktail.
Something
so,
different.
I know my parents barely drink at all, but it might just be a little thing here. My dad loves a beer, but always loves just a little bit of, Bailey's with some ice in it. So have those available for people, because people might want to just be a little more
That's
festive
right.
and try.
That's right.
Right?
Exactly.
Always great to have you on the show. And one thing we always stress, of course, the LCBO is drinking responsibly. So make sure, besides all of this, you have some good non-alcoholic beverages.
Right, and make sure that you're not letting your guests drive, and that you are pouring responsibly. Have the proper pouring. Don't over pour. You may think you're doing someone a favor, you're not.
No. Okay. Good tips. Always great to have you on. Thank you. That's it for now. We'll have more Terra at home. When I dream in color. And when I think of color, I think of Terra. Make your Christmas dreams come true at Terra, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Welcome back to Terra at Home. We're back with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra restaurant in Hamilton. In fact, we're in your studio kitchen.
Yes.
Last time we were here, we were talking about some of the tools that we need in the kitchen and necessities. Now we're talking about some of the spices that we should have, because there are a whole lot of spices in the world, but we don't need to have all of them, because sometimes you'll use it for one recipe and you don't use it for another couple of years. So let's talk about maybe some of the essentials that we need in our pantry.
Yeah, I get asked again, what are the essential things, or what are the things that you might want to have on a regular basis? Now, these are the ones that I've selected. Now, if you, obviously there's going to be an ethnic component that will play into
Sure.
what you keep in your pantry.
Right.
This is a pretty good broad perspective of almost everything. If you have this, you could pretty much flavor anything that you're looking to flavor here.
Okay.
So what I have along here is I have 3 kinds of salt, and I always have 3 kinds of salt in my pantry. One of them is your straight up table salt, iodized table salt. Okay. The other one is a coarse sea salt, and then I have a kosher salt.
Yes.
And I use these ones for different things. If you want something, you know, you got grilled meat and you like that really coarse salt crystals on it, this is the one I go to. If you want something a little finer, I'll go to the finer kosher salt.
Okay.
But
All right.
flavor-wise,
Well, that makes
all
sense
3 of
then.
them are slightly different.
Okay.
The other ones that I have over here, we have some thyme. Okay, this gives you a nice woodsy flavor. Now
Yes.
that's along the same lines as the rosemary that we have over here. I have fresh rosemary. Now I try to keep fresh rosemary and fresh parsley in my fridge at all times, okay, or growing somewhere around a window ledge so that you can pick it off. Because those are the ones, I mean, dry rosemary is, it's really woody. It's
It
almost
is.
like sticks. It's hard to get the flavor out of it. Where
Right.
with the fresh stuff, you just give it a couple chops and away it goes.
And that's the best part, is having just the little, again, as you say, just grow it in your own kitchen,
just
and
a
you can
little
go
pot.
snip it off. And
Yeah,
that's
take
great.
a little bit because you don't really need a lot
No.
of most of these things.
Okay.
Now, this is where we get into some of the different ones. I have dehydrated onion flakes. This is excellent for a lot of marinades, dry rubs and marinades.
Okay,
Because
sure.
you want to add that onion flavor. I'm not a big fan of onion powder, so this is a nice combination between getting the dry onion without having it all powdery and a little
Yes.
overpowering.
Yes.
So with the dehydrated onion, and it adds a crunchiness. So if you put it on, say,
It
chicken
does.
wings and you roast it, it gives a nice little crunch to
Okay.
it.
All right.
Bay leaves we put in all our soups, our stocks, our sauces, everything like that. That gives it nice depth. And then we have some of the more aromatic, or some of the other aromatics. We have fennel seed here.
Right.
Again, some people like having it. I like having it, and a lot of people don't like fennel.
Yeah,
So if
some
you don't
people
like
don't
it,
like
that's
fennel
one
seed.
of those you can leave off. But you know, with roasted vegetables or grilled vegetables, it's excellent because it really sweetens up and gives it nice licorice. Now we have fresh garlic here, but I also have garlic powder because
you do
again,
have garlic powder in
you
yours.
do
I'm
have garlic
surprised.
powder.
Okay.
Non-salted garlic powder.
Right.
Okay. And we use that again in any dry rub that I'm looking for. Because with this, no matter how much you shave it, how close you shave it, you can mince it, whatever you want to do with it, it's still going to be somewhat clumpy. This will give you a little bit more
That's
even
going to
distribution.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Chili flakes, you can use fresh or dry chilies. I like the fresh chilies, but I always carry some dry ones. Just if you're looking for someone wants to heat something up quickly.
Those
There
are
you go.
easy. Yeah, I
It's a
find
nice
I
easy
tend to
one.
use those a lot too.
Allspice. Allspice is great. We do a fantastic rabbit dish here in the restaurant with allspice. Excellent. It gives a real Mediterranean flavor to things, and allspice is used in a lot of different cooking.
Okay.
So
All right.
allspice is a good one. Hungarian paprika gives you that nice
The
smokiness.
smoky.
You want
love
the
that.
smoky.
Yes.
Deviled eggs.
Yes,
You can't go
yeah.
wrong. A little
Yeah.
smoky. Cayenne pepper.
Okay.
That's straight up just,
You got another-
you know what, let's get some heat into
Let's
it
get some
and, you know,
instant
give it a
heat.
good bite. Yep.
Okay.
Somebody says, oh, I like hot chicken wings.
There you
Cayenne
go. Put a
pepper.
little bit of that in
There you go.
That'll fix you.
And we have some dried herbs over here.
Mm-hmm.
I have rubbed basil, oregano, and marjoram. Now, of course, all of those come fresh, and having them fresh is ideal, but you don't always have the opportunity to have fresh.
Right.
So these 3 will give you a nice blend of good aromatics, good flavoring. Some of them are a little sweeter, savory. This one will give you that woodsy, outdoorsy, you know, depth to a dish.
And the whole thing about dried spices is it gives us that ability, again, to quick up, you know, you just get home from work and you don't have the fresh spices. You can still make something and have
Very quick
some
and have
access
flavor
to
to
flavor.
it. That's right,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
2 kinds of pepper, of course. We have our peppercorns, whole peppercorns, and then we have our crushed black pepper.
Okay.
I
Totally
like
makes sense.
peppercorns, you know, when you put it in stocks and stuff like that. It's a great way to give some flavor and stuff. And cracked pepper, of course, for your pepper mill.
Right.
Parsley, and then the other things I'd keep in my fridge, always have onions around, always have a couple citrus fruits, whether it's limes or oranges.
Dressings and things
Dressings, you know what, on top of fish. And again, you take that microplaner we talked about last week,
Yes.
give it a little zest, and away we
Right.
go.
Right.
And then, of course, if you have your onion, you need your carrot and celery because that's your basis of everything.
That's
That's
your
your
base.
mirepoix.
That's right.
That's the holy trinity right there.
Now, when we're talking about spices themselves again, let's talk a little bit about longevity. Some people have spices in their cabinets for years and they smell them, they're like, oh, I still smell. How long should you be keeping them once opened?
Once they're opened, a lot of factors come into play. Humidity, the amount of humidity in your cupboard makes a big difference. So if it's above your stove and you're boiling a lot of water and stuff like that, these things will pick up that humidity because they're dry. So they're looking for moisture. So you make sure it's airtight.
Okay.
It will lose a little bit of flavor as it sits, especially the rub basil, the marjoram.
The intensity.
It starts softening up. I mean, you do lose it. If you keep it in airtight jars, it will last a fair amount of time.
Okay.
But I wouldn't buy any of these in large quantities either. You know, just a small little thing. Get little jars from the little dollar store or whatever. Put them in there and keep them in the cupboard.
That's smart. Yeah. You don't want them kicking around for too long.
No, you don't. And again, the salt, same thing. You got to watch the humidity on the salts. They love humidity.
That's right.
They
They're
get
looking
clumpy and bunched together for
Right, absolutely. Okay, so this makes sense. All right, so this we're having basically all the basics of what you need to cook up a dish. And as you said, it depends on your culture because you know, I mean, obviously, if you're more leaning towards Indian food, you're going to add a whole bunch of curry spices and all.
That's right.
I mean, their spices are endless as well, right?
That's
so
right.
that just goes a whole other direction, and then you can just your spice drawer will be
keep on going and growing and growing.
It'll just be.
And you know what? It's one of those things that if you do add those, keep them because you never know when you're going to use them again. But just hang on to them, like I said, airtight. Keep them because if you do a little bit of Indian, you can always introduce it again at a later meal.
And you have to watch your ratios as well because fresh versus dry in a recipe, you can't go 1 for 1.
No.
If you say you don't have fresh rosemary, you have to be careful with that.
That's right. That's
okay.
right. Like thyme is a classic example. Fresh thyme, you can use a certain amount. Dry thyme, very, very little because it's very strong.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the oils in your kitchen. We'll be right back. When I dream in color. And when I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your Christmas dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives. Welcome back to TERRA at Home. We're back with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra restaurant in Hamilton. We were talking about spices and again some of the few food ingredients you should have in your kitchen. Yeah. Talk a little bit about oils before we go as well. Again, obviously we are familiar with the vegetable oil, canola oil, or olive oils, but what's the difference? Are they, you have to be careful with olive oil because of the flash point, right?
Yes. Every oil has a different smoking point. And that's essentially the point where it'll catch on fire.
Smoking point is what I meant.
That's why it becomes a flash if it lights on fire.
It does become a
so
flash.
There you go.
Then it becomes a problem.
It sounds like you're speaking of experience. So oils do have different smoking points.
Yes.
In most cases, if the recipe says to cook with canola oil, you should cook with canola oil. Very, very, very rarely do you cook with olive oil. Okay?
Olive oil. Use it all the time for everything.
They do. They
right?
do. They're looking for the health benefits of olive oil, which there are other oils out there that can provide that for you. But if you look at the two of them, I mean, you can tell the olive oil how green it is compared to the canola oil. The canola oil is definitely yellow. Vegetable oil will be very similar to that. They have higher smoking points. When you start getting into the oils that have dark colors, olive oil, sesame seed oil, very dark. When you start getting into that, a general rule is their smoking point is lower, which means they'll catch on fire earlier. So if you're looking for those health benefits of, say, olive oil, you don't want to use vegetable or canola oil, go to a grapeseed oil.
Okay.
Grapeseed oil is almost identical to olive oil, but their smoking point is extremely, extremely high. It's actually higher than canola oil.
And it's still healthy enough for you.
And it's
a lot of it's
very
about quantity
healthy.
too, right?
Oils are oils, fat's a fat. It's still, yes, exactly. But you do pick up some of the health benefits that you would get out of olive oil using grapeseed oil, and you don't have to worry about it catching on fire. The other ones, coconut oil, avocado oil, all that, more for flavor than anything else. And again, you need to watch the smoking point. So if you're cooking with something like a sesame seed oil, put it in the pan, but use canola oil to cut it as well. That'll increase that smoking point, and you still get all that nice flavor.
Awesome, Mark. Always good information. We could talk about oils for 8 minutes.
We could.
All right, that's it for now. That's it for Terra at Home this weekend. Have a good one.